Hey, what's up? Everything appears to be working fine. Audio's good. Uh, I'll leave this chat up for now. But I'm actually going to be minimizing it in a second as I'm going to be down in the corner doing my usual live stream stuff. So, how's it going? I was kind of on a week and a half break. It, uh, it on one hand, it was good to get away. On the other hand, I feel like I missed a lot. I mean, I was gone during a week where there was both a Canadian debate and an American debate, not to mention all the other news I missed. But I did come back in time for all this impeachment stuff. And I don't know. I guess I'm caught up now. So hopefully I didn't, miss too much in terms of what I could have covered if I was here. But I'm here now. So in this stream, before I get to the Q&A, I always do a Q&A at the end, usually super chats, but if there aren't many super chats, then I'll also try to pull out random questions from the regular chat. But I want to discuss the global climate strike, a new Canadian election poll, some new details about the October Democratic debate, as well as Warren and some issues with Elizabeth Warren, and something Joe Biden recently said at I believe it's a campaign event or a fundraiser, which you can almost kind of guess already what Joe Biden said there. So I'm going to be down in the corner. Let's hope this is working right. There we go. Look at that. All right. So here we go. I'm not doing this yet. I want to do the global climate strike stuff. So right now, Greta Thunberg, the climate activist, is in Montreal. And this is what the place looks like. So, I mean, look at this stuff. Hey, Needle Drop's in here. What's up? What's up, Anthony? Yes, Burning 2020 all the way. No comparison. I'll get to it later when I talk more about the American stuff. But yeah, I mean, it's becoming increasingly clear that there is only one candidate. But so this is Montreal. Big part of the global climate strike. Greta Thunberg, as I said, is there. So I think her name is Greta Thunberg, but everyone just says Thunberg, or it's kind of Thunberg. I don't know. I don't. These names, when it comes to some of these European names, it's just I can't pronounce them. But let's just call her Greta Thunberg. And so that's one view of what's happening in Montreal. This tweet from Ethan Cox, who I've had on the show before. He says, so I haven't been able to tweet because the cell network was overloaded, but it's been huge. Must be hundreds of thousands. Festive atmosphere. But there's a lot of anger in the signs students are carrying. The young are mad as hell as they aren't going to take it anymore. This gives me so much hope. I mean, the adults, these older generations just completely failed us. And they continue to fail us today. It is crazy that it took a 16-year-old climate activist who, if you saw a year ago, it was just her protesting in Sweden. And then a year later, there's entire movement all around the world supporting this global strike or being a part of this global strike that she helped to start. That a young activist like that is the catalyst for all of this is both incredible and sad, because it shouldn't take a 16-year-old climate activist to start this. We should see leadership at the top pushing this. But even our leaders today that pretend to care about this issue, like Justin Trudeau, don't. So let me show you another tweet here. This is here we go. Trudeau versus protesters. So this is Marika Walsh from the Globe and Mail. She tweets out, Trudeau replies in French, thanks for being there. And the Liberal candidates wave while the protesters shout, no pipeline. So in case you don't know, Justin Trudeau, his Liberals, bought a pipeline, I believe last year now, $4.5 billion pipeline, while pretending that they can hit their climate goals. Unbelievable. And today, he I just remembered. There's another tweet. I'm not going to find it now. But I believe it was the environment minister tweeted out in support of Greta Thunberg. And then everybody replying to the tweet is just like, you bought a pipeline. You bought a pipeline. You bought a pipeline. You bought a pipeline. Like, the gall of these people to act like they actually care about Greta Thunberg and the movement she helped to create here. It's disgusting. But let me show you here what happens. So this is Trudeau. I believe he's back there somewhere. And he's speaking in French. And the protesters are in opposition to him. They're saying no pipeline. Love it. I mean, again, Trudeau joining this protest. Oh, I am with you in solidarity in the global climate strike. You bought a damn pipeline. It's incredible. Now look, people will always say, anytime I criticize Trudeau about anything, oh, but Andrew Scheer is much worse. Yeah, he is. But there are other parties. You can support the NDP. You can support the Greens. You can volunteer with those parties, try and help and grow the movement. I understand not every riding is able to elect a Green or an NDP. But you can help. You can get involved. You can try to make it happen. So just, by sitting back and saying, oh, well, I know Trudeau's bad, but Scheer's worse. Sure. But how about trying to change that? You can help to change that. Now, the way it looks right now, it's very unlikely that we will see an NDP government, or NDP form government. But that doesn't mean you can't still put the NDP into the balance of power.
When you have rational national priorities,
that's working. I'm glad that's working. For a while, who is this? Rivera. Thank you for the super chat. I'll get to your chats afterwards. Yeah, for a while that wasn't working. But you can't you can't just complain about Trudeau being the only option here. Get involved and help change it. In 2015, I was a Green Party MP. I didn't know crap. You learn. Bernie had a recent tweet about, if you think you don't know that much and you're afraid to get involved in politics or you're afraid to run, he said himself, I'm a senator. The other senators here don't know anything. I forget his exact phrasing, but he essentially said that. Basically saying people in government right now don't know anything, or they are actively working against an agenda that is informed by science. There is nothing to lose by getting involved. So if you're bothered by Trudeau being the only option here, or the Liberals being the only option here, get involved and change it. Let me show you. So Jagmeet Singh, I believe, is in BC right now, and he tweeted on the way to the climate march. Let me see if I can share a bit of this. I'm not exactly sure what he said, to be honest.
And when you have rational national priorities.
What's going on, friends? I'm here on my way to Victoria. We're on the campaign bus. And I just want to say I'm really excited to be able to join thousands of young people that are marching in the streets. This is a really important day. This whole week has been important because we've seen thousands and thousands, in fact millions of young people demanding action from their government. There's been some incredible photos. I'm sure you've seen them, with just massive numbers of people coming out from across the world. Pictures in Toronto and in Montreal has been pretty amazing. seeing the number of people coming to the streets across Canada has been powerful. À Montréal, je suis tellement impressionné par la grande.
Oh, I don't speak French, so let me just fast forward a bit.
I'm inspired by pour l'action concrète. I want to really appreciate all the people. I want to really appreciate young people who, it shouldn't be on you to do this. It shouldn't be on you to pressure world leaders to listen. But I'm inspired by you. I'm inspired by the fact that you're saying, you know what? It's our future.
Second of all, maybe
It's
you did
our
that and made money
planet.
off of healthcare. But our job is to run a non-profit healthcare system.
I'm just going to pause for that because I love that notification. That's Bernie owning John Delaney. All right, sorry, back to this.
And how dare you? How dare you not take action now? That is a powerful message. I want to be an ally with you. I want you to know I see you, I hear you, you matter, and that our planet matters. And I'm going to fight alongside you and make sure we have policies that aren't just pretty words but real action to fight back this climate crisis. We're not going to let you down. You Democrats won't let you down. We're going to put all of our effort, all of our energy into making sure we fight this climate crisis. It means ending fossil fuel subsidies, investing in public transit, electrifying transportation. It means a future where we are no longer burning any fossil fuel for energy. It's a renewable, clean energy future. We can do this. We can make this happen. I'm inspired by your passion because it's the hope that's underlying all that passion. If we make better choices now, we can get better results. We can do this. I'm pumped. I'm excited about the potential. So the time for pretty words are over. It's about concrete action. And I look forward to joining all the great folks in Victoria on the march. I want to wish you all an awesome march, and thank you again for doing this. Let's get to the streets and send a message loud and clear that we need to protect our planet. We need to fight the climate crisis, and we can do it together. All right, take care, friends.
There you go. So, Jagmeet Singh there with the message of solidarity with the global climate strikers. He's been solid on this issue, as has been Elizabeth May, the Green Party leader. I will tell you right now, I'm honest with who I support. So even though I ran as a Green Party candidate in 2015, this time I'm leaning towards the NDP. NDP is stronger with unions, stronger with labor. And it's clear through some of the moves that the Greens have done in a number of provinces that are anti-labor that the NDP not only has a strong platform when it comes to climate, but also when it comes to standing with labor. Now, I don't think it goes far enough. Some of their plans are means tested as opposed to actually looking for, or moving towards universal coverage on certain issues. But I like what they're doing. They're moving in the right direction. I would like more, but at the same time, this is, I think, the best option we have in terms of somebody that or a party that could potentially lead the country. Now, again, it's unlikely in this election unless stuff, unless it really changes and really flips around. But that said, get involved, help change it, support. If you're in a riding where there is a potential that the NDP candidate can win your riding, support them, or a Green candidate. I mean, in BC and in Western BC, there are Green candidates there that they have a really good chance at winning their riding, or in two cases that they already have seats. So I think it makes sense in those cases to continue to support those candidates. But in most other ridings, the NDP should be your focus. At least that's what I think. So based on what I've seen, that's where I'm leaning. All right. What else we got here? So just a few more links that I saved. I think these are just images of what the climate strike looks like. So that's pretty cool. That's Montreal, I believe. Yeah. And I want to share this tweet too. This is not really related to the climate strike, but it is Canadian. So Rosemary Barton, who I like, I think for the most part, she does solid work. She works for CBC. She put this tweet out saying, so this is in relation to Jagmeet Singh saying, I hope he gets impeached. I guess jokingly he said this about Donald Trump. Rosemary Barton says, this doesn't seem like the funniest joke for someone who wants to be prime minister. Now, this sounds like somebody who may be a conservative, right? Rosemary Barton saying this. She's not. I mean, she's, for the most part, an objective journalist. This is just the bubble that they are in. So I tweeted about this tweet saying, this tweet is a great example of how media pushes their view of diplomacy as the standard, i.e. don't ruffle feathers, don't call out lawbreakers in power, pretend everything's cool. Or how about we build an international alliance of leaders that stand up for human rights? This is what it is. Even though nothing is wrong with what Jagmeet Singh said, Trump broke the law, a number of times. There are a number of reasons to impeach Donald Trump. He is obviously a horrible person and a horrible president. But because he's trying to be, leader of the country, he shouldn't say that, even though it is factually correct. Why? Why shouldn't he fight? Donald Trump never backs down, and he doesn't have any of the facts or any of the science on his side. So why should the people that have the facts and the science on their side be scared? It doesn't make any sense, but this is their worldview. Their idea of diplomacy is just being kind to power. Oh, don't challenge people, just be nice, everything will work out. No. When you have a dick in power, you cannot be nice to them and get your way. You have to show strength back. But the common wisdom from mainstream press is, oh, no, be kind and it'll all just work out. That's the way it's supposed to be. That's the way you should act. Completely absurd. And again, this isn't me attacking Rosemary Barton. This is just the bubble she's in. Everybody in that world thinks like this. She is wrong. All right. I will get to the American stuff. I know I have mostly American followers, but I think it's important to discuss this stuff as well, because I want to show you what happened. So by now, I think you all saw the blackface controversy of Trudeau in blackface 3 separate times. And when that news came out, I did a whole video on it. I predicted that this really wouldn't affect him all that much. Not only was I correct in thinking that, and the reason I thought that is because I assumed many Canadians don't know the history of blackface and don't also know how that behavior from Trudeau connects to his behavior today. I was right. And it's not like I made a prediction out of the blue. No, my prediction was informed on what I already assume about most Canadians. Not only did it not affect Justin Trudeau negatively, it positively affected him. So let me show you this poll that just came out that shows you this is just the main graphic, I guess. So Liberals are up by 3, Conservatives down by 1, and no change for NDP or the Greens. But it's even more. When you look at the graphs here, it's crazy to see the uptick after this news, because that it's like I'm laughing because it's so absurd. It's so sad that this is our country. So here you go. Liberals were down. In fact, if I go back to this tweet, I think David Coletto here says, this is the first lead for the Liberals since May. So the way Trudeau got back in the lead is by the media going after him because of this blackface stuff. He's down this whole time. Blackface happens, boom, gains 3 points, takes over the Conservatives. Now, when it comes to the Conservatives, as I said on Twitter, I replied to this, Andrew Scheer obviously is not good on this issue. He's completely phony. The week before this happened, Andrew Scheer said, about his own MPs, because some of them they're facing controversy about racist remarks that they made in the past. He said, as long as they apologize, then we can get over it. We can move on. Trudeau, then a week later, this happened to Trudeau, and all of a sudden Andrew Scheer, this is the worst thing that's ever happened in the history of Canada. Oh my God, I can't believe Justin Trudeau in blackface. Even though Trudeau apologized, of course, didn't matter to Andrew Scheer. Andrew Scheer is just totally phony. And if you actually look at the polling on who cared about that issue most, about Trudeau and blackface, it was conservatives. So shamelessly, conservatives pretend in polling when they're called about this issue, oh, yeah, this really bothers me. Oh, yeah, I'm going to vote for Andrew Scheer. Like, they have no shame. The idea that conservative voters really cared about Trudeau and blackface, give me a break. But just like their voters, many, again, not all their voters, but many other voters, just like many of their voters, Andrew Scheer, totally empty, completely phony. So I think that actually, I think Scheer pretending to care about this issue, I think actually negatively hurt or negatively impacted him. I think if he came out and said, oh, well, Trudeau apologized, we can move on, I think he may have gained some support off of that, because it would show, hey, well, at least Andrew Scheer's being honest here. But Scheer came off like a typical politician, pretending to care about an issue he's never cared about before, and people saw through that, and it hurt him. At the same time here, Jagmeet Singh had a fantastic response to it, a honest response to it, and connected it to Trudeau's behavior on other issues, like how he treated the Grassy Narrows First Nations protesters, how he just, pushed them aside. People either didn't see Jagmeet Singh's response or didn't care what he had to say. So their support, as you see here, is flat. And the Greens as well. The Greens were kind of weird on this issue. I think they actually, from what I saw, Elizabeth May and I believe Andrew Weaver in BC both said that I don't care about this issue, and they said we should move on and talk about something else. The Greens aren't all that great on race issues, at least rhetorically. So I think that was not a good move on their part. That's actually what the Conservatives, if they were being honest, would have said, but of course they were not. I haven't looked at all these. Let's take a look at some of this other data here. So vote intention by age. So younger people are leaning towards the Liberals. Unfortunately, I think people are seeing right now, hey, it's going to be the Liberals or the Conservatives, and in that case, they choose the Liberals. But that's also where the biggest chunk of support for the NDP and the Greens are. So I think that is also enlightening, or to be expected. And then you kind of expect, as the age groups get older, more conservative support, as it tends to be. Intention by education. So university graduates support Liberals most. NDP has the most support from college grads. And I guess conservative support is most with high school or less. I do want to see this. So impressions of Trudeau. So largely negative, but it's going down. So again, blackface helped him. Unbelievable. I mean, believable, but unbelievable. So he went up after that, of course. Scheer went down after people saw through his BS. And also, look, this is also not even just about that. This is also when the campaigns kicked off. When people actually began, just as I said, I hope this trend continues. We don't know for sure, but just as I said, when people actually see Andrew Scheer, like when these campaigns kick off, I said his support will go down because he is so phony. If you think Trudeau is phony, and I agree with you, he is, Andrew Scheer is at least as phony as Justin Trudeau is. And people are seeing him for that. And that's why his support, I think, is going down as well. Jagmeet Singh, I like to see that. His support shot up there. Again, once the campaigns launched, people actually saw these leaders. His support goes way up, shoots way up. His negative support goes down. Elizabeth May, her support's going up. I like Elizabeth May. I think she's made some poor moves, but I think she comes off as somebody who's at least honest in her convictions, honest about what she's about. So I think people like that. All right. Anything else here interesting? Okay, I don't know. All right. What is next? The Dem debate. Dem debate. All right, let me check the chat first. Make sure everything's still going nicely. Nothing is loading. There we go. That's why I wasn't seeing all the chats. Okay. I had a weird setting on. All right, I'll get to yeah, I saw some super chats earlier. I think one of them, at least one of them, addressed Canadian stuff, so maybe it's a good idea I talk about that now before I move on. I just gotta open up a window. Also, right before I launched this stream, I pulled my chair up and I squeezed my finger in between the table and the armrest, and it really hurt. I'm wondering if I broke something. I think it looks a little swollen, but I think I'm okay. All right, let me find these super chats, and then we'll move on. Everything is really slow right now. I hope the stream is fine. YouTube is really slow. Oh my God. It's not even loading it. There we go. Okay. Rivera says, can't wait to discuss this on my stream at 7 p.m. Love your content. Someone trying to advertise their own stream at 7. That's cool. But thank you. Siridi Ahmed Yahia says, I have family in Canada and they don't know who to vote for. Is it risky to vote for NDP in Montreal? Montreal's a big place. I don't know. I don't know the breakdown of the riding they're in. Look, largely, I don't know, honestly. I don't want to give advice here for someone to vote in a certain way when I don't know their riding exactly. But again, they should support who they like. You have to support who you want. I mean, organize for who you want to win that riding. Volunteer for that candidate. Try to get them to a place where they can actually win in that riding. But if it comes down and it's like, there is no support for any other party except for the Liberals or the Conservatives, I'm not going to tell people not to vote Liberal. I mean, if you're in a situation where there is just no organizing for the NDP or the Greens and it's really only Liberal or Conservative and it's a close call, yeah, we don't want a sheer majority. So I'm not going to discourage people in that scenario. But in many ridings, that isn't the case. In many ridings, you can actually support your NDP candidate or your Green candidate, and they have a shot. All right. Oh, and the What Do You Mean sent me a super chat as well. Thank you. All right. Let me get to the Dem debate. Dem debate. Here we go. So, Democratic debate on CNN in October. Let's break down the details here because they are doing something interesting that I don't know if I like it or not. And I actually don't think it's going to be a good thing. They are putting all 12 candidates on the same stage. So we are going to have a situation here where there are going to be more candidates on one stage at one time than there have been in past debates. So the previous debates, the cap was 10. Anything over 10, they split into a second debate. This debate is now 12, which means even less screen time for each of the candidates than happened in the first debate or the second debate. So it's getting down to the wire now. We're in October and we're still playing games with these other candidates that have no shot. Why are candidates that are polling at 3%, 2%, 5%, why are they still in this race? Why are they still in the discussion? So let me show you here who's actually going to be on stage. So it says here, but I have a note that breaks it down. So we got Joe Biden, Cory Booker, Pete Buttigieg, Julian Castro, Tulsi Gabbard, Kamala Harris, Amy Klobuchar, Beto O'Rourke, Bernie Sanders, Tom Steyer, Elizabeth Warren, and Andrew Yang. There are so many people on this list that shouldn't be in this debate. I'll tell you just personally, I actually do want to see Tulsi Gabbard in this debate because she's a highlight reel. She completely took down Kamala Harris in that second debate. I'm going to make, I think, a fairly obvious prediction right now. I think Tulsi Gabbard's going to go after Elizabeth Warren. I think she'll bring up possibly Warren voting for the spending bill, the military spending bill, but also potentially other issues. So I think that's going to be Tulsi Gabbard's game plan there, because Warren right now, she's the one rising. And if Tulsi Gabbard's honest about trying to actually win this thing, which I would argue that she isn't, but that would be the target for her. That would be an easy target for her. Just like the way she took down Kamala Harris, I think she can make some arguments against Elizabeth Warren. That said, it won't be as effective. I mean, Kamala Harris really was a candidate that was barely touched in the media before she was taken down by Tulsi Gabbard. Elizabeth Warren doesn't have as many skeletons in her closet like Kamala Harris does, so it's a little different in that case. But that said, I think it's still a good shot for Tulsi Gabbard to try and say something there. Tom Steyer. This guy bought his way into this race. Honestly, I didn't even know he was still in this race. He launched his campaign. He's one of these billionaires. He had this giant email list because he was running a campaign against Donald Trump before he even ran for president. He then used that email list to gain support for his campaign and essentially paying. So he put a ton of money into that campaign to get all those emails, all those numbers that he could, use for his other campaign against Trump. Spent all that money, and that is the only reason he's able to solicit donations now and was able to reach the limit needed to get into, the bar needed to get into this debate. He bought his way into this race. His inclusion here to me is disgusting. At least these other people, whether you like them or not, they in some way earned where they are. They're either politicians already, or they have the support they have because of their work in government. And in the case of Andrew Yang, somebody who wasn't a politician before, he was able to build his support organically. Tom Steyer just bought it. So even though I don't agree with Andrew Yang on some issues, and I don't think he should be, a serious candidate in this race either, he at least deserves a spot here. Tom Steyer doesn't. Also on this list, I mean, what? Booker. Yeah, I mean, really, and actually, no. Booker, I don't mind as much as Klobuchar. Klobuchar and O'Rourke and Buttigieg. Buttigieg is only in this race as well because of money. He has the most billionaire donors. Last I checked, this is from over the summer, so it's likely more now. 23 billionaire donors. He raised the most money in the second quarter while polling at 5%. So 3%, 5%. I mean, he hasn't really, gone above that. Meanwhile, raising the most money. Again, somebody just completely buying themselves into this campaign or into this race. So, yeah, he's only here because of that. Amy Klobuchar, I honestly don't understand. I don't understand who's supporting her. Nobody's talking about her. I don't know where her support's coming from. I don't know how she's getting anybody supporting her in polling. I don't know how I don't know how she's receiving any donations. Who's supporting Amy Klobuchar? That one really confuses me. Everybody else, I understand. O'Rourke, yeah, I was done with him a while ago. I don't even know, I think O'Rourke. So I missed the last debate. He apparently had one good moment during that debate. But as I said, it's getting down to the wire. This race right now is really about Biden, Warren, Sanders. That's it. Everybody else right now could be off the stage, and there needs to be an actual debate between those top three candidates. Nobody is polling anywhere close to them. Those three are all in double digits. Nobody else is. Why are we even pretending anymore? So those are the details. It's on Tuesday, October 15th. One night, 12 candidates. It's at the Otterbein University in Ohio. And it's going to be hosted by CNN hosts Aaron Burnett and Anderson Cooper, plus New York Times national editor Mark Lacey. All right. Let me get to this Biden thing here. So, Joe Biden, always a fun guy. Always saying something dumb, or saying something maybe too honest. So Dave Weigel tweets us out saying, from the pool report of Thursday night's Biden fundraiser in LA, quote, Biden again joked that they shouldn't expect a tax cut from him. So he's talking to his wealthy donors. It ain't coming. It ain't gonna come, Biden said. So it sounds good right now, right? Oh, yeah. Don't expect a tax cut. Sure, you're giving me money, but don't expect a tax cut. Biden said, locking eyes with one donor. But no punishment either. I mean, this is who Joe Biden is. He's so this is the guy. This is the guy who will not really fundamentally change anything. Really won't improve anything. Status quo is actually the best you could hope for with Joe Biden. It's very possible it's just going to be status quo of Donald Trump, not status quo of like the Obama administration. So this is just his support is dropping, has dropped considerably since he announced, continues to drop, though you could say, unfortunately, in my opinion, unfortunately, a lot of his support appears to be going to Elizabeth Warren, which is interesting considering when there was polling done over the summer from, I believe it was Politico, showing people's first, second, third choices. People that supported Joe Biden, by far their second choice was Bernie Sanders. So Bernie should be getting his support, but it appears Elizabeth Warren is peeling off a lot of that support from Biden. I don't really know why.
When you have rational national priorities.
Thank you, commuted. I'll check the super chat after. I do in some, okay. I actually do get it. I don't get it in the sense that it doesn't make sense policy-wise, obviously, but I get it in the sense that that's who the media is focused on, Elizabeth Warren. So you have right now a scenario where I think the media at large has correctly recognized people want change. People want progressive policy. And for them, this is the lesser of two evils. So while most voters have had to deal with the lesser of two evils their entire lives, the media now is thinking, well, the lesser of two evils here, because Joe Biden's dropping considerably, it's going to be Bernie or Warren. The lesser of two evils for us in power, us with the wealth, is Elizabeth Warren. I think in their mind, they think, I think correctly, that they can maybe massage Warren on some issues, get her to hold back. She's already doing it. She finally put out her plan for healthcare, and it's not Medicare for all. So her plan is like a weird combination of, Medicare for all in some areas, but mental care is not Medicare for all. And other aspects of it, she's very vague about her support. So while on stage, she'll say, I'm with Bernie on this. It's Medicare for all. When you actually question her on it, she talks like there's no, we don't have the policy. It's not really detailed yet. So we got to figure out how to get there. Bernie Sanders, Pramila Jayapal, they have detailed proposals on how to enact Medicare for all. The detail is there. You're just pretending it isn't. So why would she be doing that if it wasn't for the fact that I don't think she will fight for it? And you have high profile celebrities. I saw one, I don't know who the person is, but they're a celebrity, put their support behind Elizabeth Warren because they support Medicare for all. Of course, you see all the replies to this person, all the quote tweets saying, dude, if you support Medicare for all, Elizabeth Warren's not your candidate. And then she used it to campaign. She did a whole video about it, like just the whole thing. Like, she'll take people's support if they think she is in support of Medicare for all, and she'll fight for it. But she hasn't shown that. And let me, I think I have some more and stuff here. Here we go. So Megan Day, you got to follow Megan Day on Twitter. She's fantastic. Staff writer for Jacobin. It's Megan M Day on Twitter. So she tweets out here. I'm trying to get it to zoom in. Oh. There we go. She tweets out, in 2004, Elizabeth Warren wrote this. That's how I personally know that her rhetorical support for Medicare for all is a political response to the climate Bernie Sanders has created. So this is Elizabeth Warren. On the campaign trail, quote, I believe in markets has become a kind of mantra for Warren. I am a capitalist to my bones, as she put more explicitly last year. Her 2004 book even boasted that, quote, we haven't suggested a complete overhaul of the tax structure, and we haven't demanded that businesses cease and desist from ever closing another plant or firing another worker. Nor have we suggested that the United States should build a quasi-socialist safety net to rival the European model. Yeah. Elizabeth Warren is not for fundamental change. I mean, in some ways, you can say this could potentially even be worse than the Barack Obama letdown. Because Barack Obama rhetorically was saying the right things in 2008. He actually was fighting. And then when he got into power, he capitulated. He gave in. Elizabeth Warren is already giving in. And it's the Democratic primary. If you are already giving in on your positions, I'm saying giving in the sense that if she actually cared to implement these sorts of policies. I don't know if she does. But if you want to get to a place where you have Medicare for all, you don't give in already to conservatives in the Democratic primary. That's not what you do. So I hope people care. People look at the details. A big part of the problem here with Elizabeth Warren's support is that a lot of her support is carried over from Hillary Clinton, carried over from Kamala Harris, from Joe Biden. Her support largely are people that supported the establishment candidate last time. So will these people even care if you make these points? I think she does have some support from people that think, oh, well, I mean, Elizabeth Warren, Bernie Sanders, they're the same thing, right? I'm just going to choose the woman here because I think it's time for a woman in the White House, which I totally get that angle. I understand people with that desire, but they're wrong in their assessment that Bernie and Warren are the same. They're not. You have an actual fighter in Bernie Sanders. Elizabeth Warren is somebody who is already capitulating, already giving in, is somebody who is not going to fight. Bernie Sanders has a proven record of fighting for people, a proven record of standing up to special interests. Elizabeth Warren is better than every other candidate in the race, except Bernie Sanders. And not only except, Bernie Sanders is way ahead of Elizabeth Warren on these issues. It's not even close. So you need somebody that can really build this grassroots movement and use it to their advantage. Bernie Sanders is doing that now. Elizabeth Warren has promised the DNC that she will not battle them. That was an article, I believe it came out in the New York Times. I did a video on that. She has promised the DNC that she will play ball with them. Bernie Sanders has made no such promise. Bernie Sanders is actively fighting back against the DNC, fighting back against corporate interests. These candidates are not the same. They may appear the same in some ways, but they're not. One is fighting against power and is building a grassroots movement. Bernie Sanders has the largest grassroots movement by far. He has over now 1 million donors, No other candidate has that. He beat his record in 2016 by getting to that number earlier than he did in 2016. He has the most individual donations at 2.5 million. He has the most volunteers by far, the most on-the-ground support by far. He also has the most individual contributions in counties that went from Obama to Trump. So if you're talking about a candidate that can defeat Donald Trump, you need those counties. You need those counties that voted for Obama twice and then voted for Trump. Bernie Sanders, if you combine the support that Biden and Warren have in those counties, Bernie Sanders beats them combined. It's not even close. He's the only candidate that I trust to do anything on this. Now, I'm glad in some ways that there's this impeachment talk, because it shouldn't be about who can defeat Donald Trump, because I think really most of these candidates can defeat Donald Trump. I think the energy is there. I think if you have an electorate where both bases are excited to go out and vote, like we saw in 2018, both bases came out to vote. Democrats largely won because most people side with Democrats. The problem is those people that side with Democrats often don't vote. They need to be excited to go out and vote. If you have Joe Biden out there, it's going to suppress the vote. And regardless if it's say it's Pence and it's not Trump, conservatives will still come out and vote because they are dedicated voters. They vote regardless. Democrats need to be excited to go out and vote. And really, it's not even just, I shouldn't say Democrats, voters need to be excited to go out and vote. Non-voters, independents need to be excited to go out and vote. You need a bold candidate, a bold message, somebody that has a proven track record of standing up with people. And Bernie Sanders has that. I'm not even sure how Trump or anybody else could attack him. I mean, they'll of course have the dishonest attacks. Oh, socialist, crazy Bernie. But that crap doesn't stick. I mean, the reason Hillary Clinton was able to be taken down, even though, she won the popular vote, but the reason why that race was even close is because Hillary Clinton did have a poor track record. There was actually some concrete stuff you could criticize her over. With Bernie Sanders, there isn't. Bernie Sanders can run this grassroots campaign and say, hey, I'm not taking any big donor money. I've had no private fundraisers. I have no corporate money. I am running just on the people. But you, Donald Trump, or you, Mike Pence, all of your money, most of your money is coming from these massive interests, these interests that are antithetical to what millions of voters want. Warren has said she will take money from everywhere in the general. So right now she's running the same race as Bernie is, only taking money from individual donors. But Warren said if she were to win the nomination, she would open herself up to everybody. Corporate money, PAC money, private fundraisers, whatever. I don't know why you would do that when you are running in a general election. In fact, it makes more sense for her to do that now, to raise that money now. Because in a general election, you have all that free media. You have $1 billion in free media. Why does she need to raise money from people? People will know the ticket's either going to be the Democrat or the Republican. So why exactly do you need to raise money from corporations in a general election? You don't. It doesn't make any sense. And all it does is undercuts her message and her ability to say, I'm not corrupted, but you, Donald Trump, are. She won't be able to say that in a race if she's taking money from everywhere. It's a stupid strategy. So it's not even for me just about knowing that Bernie can actually push these policies forward. It's also about knowing that Bernie doesn't have the same flaws that Warren would in a race. And there is still the potential and the fear there that Warren would lose. So that's how I feel about this. All right. Q&A. I think I saw another super chat come in. Let me check on that. I'll also take some random messages before I get out of here. Probably drop out of here by 5. So in 10 minutes, but we'll see how it goes. All right. By the way, I'm not sure what YouTube's doing to me. because so I was gone for a week and a half, which is usually not good when it comes to the YouTube algorithm. But I was still putting out videos here and there. I pre-recorded a bunch of stuff. I did a couple live streams. But I came back from the break and the views are like 1/3 of what they normally are. And subscribers have barely moved. And it's not just my channel. I was looking at other channels that also saw a similar drop in subscribers and views. So it appears they're sidelining news and politics channels even more than they were before. I mean, I've been at 230 subscribers for over a week now. That's not normal. I usually at least raise, like 1,000 subs a week or so, or even less than a week. But it hasn't changed at all. So it's really odd. But that's the state of things right now. So again, that's why I have to rely on whether it's YouTube membership, though I would prefer you support me on Patreon because I don't like YouTube. I don't want them getting money. So if you can support me on Patreon instead of YouTube membership, I prefer that. But if you like YouTube membership, I'm not going to fight you on that, obviously. But just letting you know how YouTube is treating us. So more super chats came in, but no messages. Thank you to What Do You Mean, Commuted, and Car Wash Freak 97. Thank you so much. All right, let me take some of these chats. A lot of people watching right now. That's cool. Over 700, which is again so weird to me. Like, so I have great views right now while streaming live, but the views in the videos are definitely down. All right. Let me grab some random stuff. Oh, Lenny Gordon says, what do you think about a Bernie with Warren as VP ticket? Yeah. I think that's kind of the standard.
When you have rational national priorities.
For me, it's what's even better than that at this point. Well, okay, I'll say this. In terms of winning the election, I think Bernie and Warren on the same ticket is almost guaranteed. If Bernie wins the nomination, I think it's almost guaranteed that he picks Elizabeth Warren, even though, honestly, my preference is Nina Turner. Nina Turner, to me, is just incredible. She's an amazing person, an incredible fighter, an incredible speaker. She has a great story. I think, for me, Turner is 100% the number one choice for VP. But speaking the way campaigns usually think, I think it's Elizabeth Warren. So I was saying this earlier. Elizabeth Warren's base is largely white, largely highly educated, like PhDs. Then again, I hate saying that because it makes it sound like people that support Bernie are dumb. That's not at all the case. But if I'm talking about in terms of like people that have had a good life, that are born into wealthy families, they support Elizabeth Warren. Bernie Sanders, his support is mostly diverse and working class. You put those two candidates together on a ticket, you've brought the country together. So I think if Bernie wins the nomination, I think it's almost guaranteed he picks Warren as his VP. The other way around, though, I don't think is the case. I do not think Elizabeth Warren would pick Bernie Sanders as her VP, even though she should, because, again, for the same reasons, bringing the country together on that one ticket and actually having a candidacy that is fighting for working people, that has the grassroots support, the incredible grassroots support from Bernie Sanders, and Warren's in second place in that. Even though she's far down in second place, she is second place in grassroots support. Bringing that all together into one campaign, I think, is the way to go. But I don't think Warren would choose.
When you have
Bernie.
rational national priorities,
younger and likely a person of color. I don't know who that would be. I really hope it wouldn't be Kamala Harris. But there's a lot of candidates that I hope it wouldn't be. So, I mean, it's hard when it comes to who would Warren pick as VP that would satisfy people, like satisfy, say, Bernie voters. I mean, she could pick Nina Turner, but that's not going to happen. So, yeah, I would have said Tulsi before, months ago. Tulsi hasn't been having a good few weeks, or I should say good, few months, really. We've just kind of, I think largely a lot of people that cover politics, cover news, we haven't talked about Tulsi and all the back and forth she's been doing because her campaign isn't really a threat. It's not really that powerful. I mean, she's at what, 3%, 5%? So
when you have
there's no reason to
rational
really
national
overanalyze Tulsi
priorities,
Gabbard all that much. But when you have somebody that has been at least pretending to care about, progressive policy for a while, renege on Medicare for all, I think that's a headline. Not to mention how quickly she turned around on the impeachment thing. I mean, when that started 2 days ago, she was against impeachment. Now she's for it. So I don't know if you saw that news that just came out a few hours ago. Tulsi Gabbard now supports impeachment after being against it 2 days ago, which I think she's now made the right decision. Problem is, if you were defending her before about being against impeachment, you're in a weird place now because now she's flopped. So are you with her now? Are you against her now? So just her supporters, a lot of them are really weird to the point where I don't think a lot of them, especially on Twitter, are even real because they don't accept new information. And I know that's a lot of supporters of many candidates, but it's really weird with her support. All right. I think I saw some other ones here. Jivan Mamen says, do you think Bernie should release a Social Security for all plan? Don't you all get Social Security when you reach a certain age? I'm not exactly sure what you mean by that. Like, do you mean like
when you have rational national
if you mean
priorities,
like a UBI? I don't think it would make sense for him to release a UBI plan now. It's something to definitely talk about. I think there is a way to do that isn't, the Andrew Yang version of it, where you're taking away support, or taking away potentially the safety net. But yeah, I don't think Bernie needs to talk about that right now. But thank you for the question.
when you have
Car Wash
rational
Freak
national
97 says, should
priorities,
Bernie voters outvote Biden in primary? Should Bernie voters outvote Biden in primary? They should. Will they? I don't know. But I do think they will. I don't think Biden's going to last that much longer. I think this is really going to be a race between Bernie Sanders and Elizabeth Warren. I saw some other ones come in. Hold up. There it is. Nope, it's not there. Oh, also, I should have said this earlier. You can donate to me on Streamlabs, which is actually better for me because YouTube doesn't get any of the money. Again, not a huge fan of YouTube here. But what is the link to that? Here it is. So if you donate through here, I will still get your chat message. I'll put it in the chat in a second. I'll still get your chat message, but YouTube won't be getting a piece of it. So Streamlabs link that I just sent you is preferable. All right. Super chats. I have like 30 windows up right now. So I got to find it. There we go. I got it. So Nicholas Smith says, I used to support Sanders. No more. I am tired of socialism being normalized. I will sit out if he wins the nomination. Okay. Why are you in this chat? Like, when I see chats like that, I wonder, why are you watching my live stream if you don't support Sanders? I mean, it's not even like, who would you support? You would actually sit out the nomination. I don't even think that's a real chat, to be honest with you. This is a troll or someone that wants attention. But thank you for the super chat. You're crazy. All right, let me get some random chats here. All right, a lot of people talking to each other. Post some questions. I want some questions. Actually, tag my name if you have a question. That way, it's easier for me to see it. Here we go. Humid, sorry, I'm bad at names. Humaid Mirza says, "Do you think AOC will endorse Bernie or Warren or both?" I think she's gonna wait until New York, till the primary, and at that point she'll assess. So if at that point it's clear that, if it's clear that Warren has won, say, every state so far, I think she'll likely support Warren. Or she may support both if there's still a chance that Bernie can come back and win. If Bernie wins, has won the most delegates by that point or the most states, I think she'll support Bernie. So I kind of think that's where AOC's head is at. But she should support Bernie. I mean, she should support him now. So in the past, I said
when you have rational national priorities
until New York as a way to have the most impact on the election. But with the way Warren's going right now, I don't want to see Warren run out way ahead here. And the bleeding has to stop. AOC should come out and support Bernie Sanders right now and be clear about it. I don't think she will, though, but she should. Super chat from Blackstar Goat says, coalition government with NDP and Liberals possible? Yeah, it's possible. It's possible. I mean, if you have a Liberal minority supported by an NDP caucus, then yeah, it's totally possible. In fact, really the best case scenario, like if you're talking about like an actual majority, like it's a coalition government, no, I don't. Yeah, if you're saying that, I don't really think that's going to happen. I think we'll see. I think the best case scenario here is a Liberal minority, and the NDP being able to put pressure on the Liberals and actually maybe get some progressive policy passed, or more progressive policy than in the past 4 years. So I think that's possible, but I don't really see a coalition government happening. All right, I got some more here. When is Biden going to fall? That's from Crimson Sage. Biden is going to continually lose support up until next year. I think it's possible Biden won't even really make it to Iowa, or he'll make it to Iowa, not win, and then he'll drop out. Or if he's incredibly senile, he'll continue and think that he has a chance, but he'll continue to lose. So I think by Iowa, he'll either be out or he'll be out after Iowa, because I just don't. I can't see him lasting much longer. Every poll that comes out, he loses more support. So, and every debate, it's clear Joe Biden doesn't have his faculties. And though, look, there is fear that impeachment could potentially help Joe Biden because this Ukraine call was about Joe Biden's son. So him being in the news cycle in that way, where Trump was actually targeting Biden in a way, could help Joe Biden by seeming like, oh, Biden's the candidate that, Trump is most afraid of. So it could potentially help him. That said, if Trump is convicted in the Senate, which I think is more possible than people think, I still think it's unlikely, but I think it's still more possible than people are giving it credit, then Biden has no chance. I mean, Biden's only selling point is that he's not Donald Trump. So if Donald Trump's gone, Biden's got nothing. But that's not going to happen before the primaries, certainly. So yeah, I just think Biden's going to fall regardless. We're seeing it now and it's going to continue.
When you have rational national priorities.
Old Gringo says, are you on Rockfin? No, I don't have time to split my time to divide it between all these different platforms. No. Order of Chaos says, do you truly believe that people can affect change of a corrupt system from within that corrupt system. Well, it depends what you mean by that. Do you mean politicians? Because yes, if you have a candidate like Bernie Sanders, who is a movement candidate, someone that is empowering grassroots movements from within, then absolutely. But if you're asking, can a candidate, just by using the powers of the presidency that doesn't involve, bring grassroots movement into the discussion, bring activists into the discussion? No, I don't think you can really change a corrupt system from within if you're not utilizing people power from outside. So you need to combine your power that you have from within the system with the people power from outside the system, which is what Bernie Sanders is doing. And he's the only candidate committed to doing that, which is why, again, he is clearly the only choice here. Ben Hex Octal says, if Bernie loses primary, should he form a third party and still run? No, that'd be stupid. That would split the vote. He wouldn't do that. That'd be, no, not happening. I think I heard a super chat. Luis Roja, or is it Luis? I know in Portugal it's Luis. Says, if it's Warren and we get no Bernie VP, what cabinet position could he best fill? CFPB, Consumer Financial Protection Bureau. Yeah, potentially. That's a good question because I haven't really thought about that. Because I try not to think about Warren as the president. But while he wouldn't be VP, I think Warren would be smart enough to utilize him, and in a position of power that he could actually affect. I think the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau is actually potentially a good suit for him because that's where Warren and Bernie actually align. I do think Warren is committed to pushing back against Wall Street power. So in that case, because Warren knows that Bernie's serious about that, I mean, anywhere she puts Bernie, he's going to be serious about it. But in that instance, she is also serious about it. So they would align on that basically, which is why I think that is actually a position that I could see Bernie filling. But yeah, I got to think more about that or I want to think less about that because got to be focused on Bernie Sanders winning the candidacy. But if we cross that bridge, we'll have more of these discussions.
When you have rational national priorities.
By the way, I should maybe get back to the center here. There we go. All right. So another one just came in. So I'll be here as long as these come in. Here we go. Polyfufu says Pelosi is awful. Thoughts on
when you have
Shahid
rational
Buttar?
National priorities.
I think I'm saying his name right? Right? Shahid Buttar. He seems great from what I've seen. Actually, I think his campaign reached out to me. I may possibly interview him. But from everything I've seen about him, I saw his interview on TMBS on the Michael Brooks show. You should check that out. I mean, they really get into the details. I mean, it helps that, I think Michael Brooks knows more than most people that do this know about this stuff. So they're able to really get into some details. And it's clear Shahid Buttar is well versed in all of it, and he's committed to all of it. So absolutely. Pelosi is garbage, and Shahid Buttar would be an incredible replacement. All right. Just saw this randomly. Somebody said the Mesa 87, Bernie/David Dole or Trump/Biden 2020. I don't think they would allow a Canadian to be vice president. I also don't think I'd be qualified, to be quite honest with you. I will, if I was asked, I'd be like, no. Why do you even know who I am? Leave me alone. But that'd be funny. This from Lee Cox says, I wonder sometimes if there isn't a significant number of Republicans in Congress who would rather work against Biden than with Trump. Good point. Yeah. I mean, this is also kind of part of the reason I think more senators that are Republicans support impeachment than people think. Actually, there was a story that came out. A solid source within the Republican Party. He's a strategist, and he knows people in the party. He knows members of Congress, and he knows senators. He says that 30 Republican senators, 30 privately support impeachment of Trump. Now the question is, are they willing to publicly support that? Because they'd have to vote for it. They have to vote to convict in the Senate. So I don't know the answer to that, but 30 is a lot. There's got to be at least a percentage of that would in fact say it publicly if given the opportunity. I mean, you got to think of the tension between Trump and Republicans in Senate. They have to keep protecting this guy despite all his BS. That's got to have some impact on your psyche. Even if you are the worst person, as many of these senators are horrible people, it's just, when it comes to his behavior, which is what they're bothered by, it's got to get to a point where they're just like, I have the opportunity to actually maybe, save my name somewhat in some record book somewhere about this whole situation, about these whole 4 years, that they're going to support impeachment. Then again, I think we're all consistently amazed by just how much this party takes, how much they will defend him. I mean, many of them right now are defending him against impeachment. It's just the question is, while those vocal few are doing that now, it doesn't mean the majority of them will. And it doesn't mean that when it comes to a vote that they would still feel the same way. But you got to wait and see. I also, as I said in my video on this, I actually think if Trump is impeached, if he's convicted in the Senate, it's actually a negative for Democrats, because you then suppress the vote in 2020. Less people are going to come out and vote because Trump's no longer a threat. So, which is also why you need a candidate in the Democratic primary, or to win the Democratic primary, to excite people. Because if it's Joe Biden and Mike Pence, nobody's coming out to vote. I mean, think of how low, think of how suppressed the vote would be if it's Joe Biden and Mike Pence. I mean, you need somebody like a Bernie Sanders to get people excited to vote for something. If there is no Trump, if Trump's there, I think voters are going to come out regardless. Democratic, or people voting for the Democratic candidate, will come out regardless. But if Trump's not there, you need a candidate that will excite the base. John Kelly says, so everyone except Bernie is corrupt on Medicare for all. You're right. You got it. That's it. Warren's corrupt. Kamala Harris is corrupt. And Tulsi Gabbard, she has spoken out of both sides of her mouth. Now, I think corrupt is maybe the wrong word, but nobody actually is going to fight for Medicare for all except for Bernie Sanders. That's the bottom line. So regardless of why you think that's the case, whether it's money, whether it's strategy, whatever it is, nobody will fight for Medicare for all except for Bernie Sanders. That's obvious right now. Tulsi Gabbard, Elizabeth Warren have spoken both ways. Tulsi Gabbard now, I did a whole video on this, so I'm not going to break it down. Watch the video. It's clear from her words multiple times, 2 months ago in an interview, 2 days ago in an interview, she doesn't support Medicare for all. She supports Medicare choice. She supports people deciding if they want to keep their current employer-based insurance, their insurance through their union, that they can keep it. You can't do that under a Medicare for all system. That wouldn't exist. And I explained the reasons why. I explained why that plan is horrible in my video. So I'm not going to break that whole thing down again, but there was a reason. Just quickly, under a single payer system, under a true Medicare for all system, everybody pays into the same pool, which means politicians have the same health care. The wealthiest people in society have the same health care. The for-profit interest is out, which means there is no threat of destroying that system for corporations, for corporate interests. If you still allow private interests in the system, they will continue to try and get more and more and more and more. I mean, even in Canada, we're seeing that now in Ontario with Doug Ford. While we have a single payer system, he is opening up the doors to private interests to do a little more than they have in the past. So, and that's because we don't have dental care covered, and you can still get private insurance for things like a private hospital room, which really I'm not against the idea of that, though I am kind of against the idea of that because you're still creating kind of a two-tier system. You're creating a class of people where, oh, I get a private hospital room, but you don't. I don't really care for that. But it doesn't bother me in the sense where people still get the same healthcare. So it's still, you're still guaranteed healthcare, and insurance companies can't duplicate what coverage is offered under a single payer system. So that's the difference there. A public option, you open the opportunity for private companies to undercut the market, for them to try and get all the healthy people, offload the sick people onto the public system, which defunds the public system, drains it of resources. Yeah, again, I break most of this down in my video on Tulsi Gabbard doing her flip-flop there. But single payer or Medicare for all is the answer. Humaid Mirza, I think I said your name differently earlier, says, how do we defeat / suppress mainstream media bias and fave celebrity musician crush? It's like, what? Those are two different questions. Okay, first, how do we defeat, suppress mainstream media bias? By doing what I'm doing. I mean, you have to share this video, share these channels, share other people that also do the same work. That's the only way to do it. You have to correct the record on the BS that they're spreading. And the only way to do that is to share information that counteracts what they're saying and does it with sources, does it with, the evidence behind them. So it's a slow process. Unfortunately, there's no quick way to do it because television has, it's in everybody's home. Everybody at least has, a few channels. They get ABC News, NBC News. Most of them have CNN, Fox News. So it's hard to crush that when you have generations that are older mostly watching television. But that's why I say it's kind of a matter of time, because younger generations are mostly watching YouTube, mostly watching other videos online. So that support grows. And that's kind of the only way to do it. Unfortunately, there's no quick answer. Second question. And favorite celebrity / musician crush. Is favorite and crush the same thing, or do you mean you want a favorite and a crush? I gotta say, I was a big fan of Grimes until she started dating Elon Musk, and her politics changed. So Grimes is a musician. She, I think she was a Marxist. At least, yeah, I think she was. And now she's dating a billionaire. And she was like supporting Yang in a recent video or image I saw. I don't pay attention to her anymore because it honestly bothers me. It bothers me when people who are in positions, who are celebrities that had the correct politics, just completely sell out. And really, I say it bothers me. I think that's the only time I can really think of an example of that. But it's disturbing. And it was part of the reason that, you form attachments and you like people and their work is because you like who the person is. But she turned out to be somebody else. And that's kind of annoying. But currently, I'll be honest with you, I don't pay too much attention to celebrities. I'll see like celebrity stuff on Twitter sometimes. I'm not even sure who these people are half the time, because I'm mostly in this online world, right? So I don't watch the Emmys, I don't watch the Oscars, I don't watch the Grammys. I'm not even sure who I would say to that. But it's a good question, just not for me. Let me see if somebody else has any questions that I'm tagged in. I don't see anything. Someone yells, Rosario Dawson. She's great. Isn't she Dating Cory Booker. Oh, is that why you? Yeah, that's why you mentioned her. Yeah. Look, I don't know these people. I don't want. It's Cory Booker's a little different than Elon Musk. Though obviously I don't support Cory Booker. It's not the same as being a Marxist and then just dating the ultimate capitalist. It's kind of weird. Rosemary Barton, I haven't seen any notifications that
when
her
you have
politics has
rational
changed.
national priorities.
No reason to go after her. Black Star Goat says, could Yang's growing support help Bernie in Iowa? I don't know. Does Yang have much support in Iowa? I mean, I know nationally Yang has surpassed, I think even Kamala Harris in many polls, which I love to see. Like, again, I don't support Yang, but I support Yang more than Kamala Harris, just based on what they support, and also just based on who they are. Yang, I actually think, is an honest guy. I don't think he's trying to deceive people. I just don't agree with some of his positions. I mean, on foreign policy especially, I mean, he had an answer on Israel that was just not good. This is a few months ago now. If you look it up, Andrew Yang, Israel, Palestine, you'll see his answer. It's not good. But I think that's largely because of his unawareness. Or, at worst, maybe his awareness that he can't do anything about it. That he doesn't have the power or the knowledge to really do anything about it. So, but I do think he's honest in his convictions. He's honest about who he is, which I like to see, even though I don't agree with him. Yeah, someone said Yang is a libertarian. Jamie Broadnax. Essentially, Yang appears to be a libertarian to me, too. All right. Sorry. I think I heard either super chats or members joining, because I get notifications for both. I did miss some people. Apologies. Old Gringo says, what's the latest, biggest news from Canada? Right now, it's the Global Climate March or strike, which I covered at the beginning of this stream. But it's the election coming up too. So that's kind of, there is no one piece of news right now that's dominating. It's just kind of day-to-day election coverage and what the candidates are discussing, what they're, doing pressures about. So it's all that stuff. And Old Gringo just joined as a member. Thank you, Old Gringo. I have noticed you for quite a while. I'm glad you joined. Devin Macklem.
Maybe you did that and made money off of healthcare.
Do you hear that?
Our job is to run a non-profit healthcare system.
It's my favorite notification. Bernie Sanders completely owns
when you
John
have
Delaney
rational national priorities.
All right, let me get to this question. Devin Macklem says, I think Bernie needs to distinguish himself from Warren. Mainstream media treats them like they're the same, paired with her great media coverage and Bernie's coverage. Do you think he will? His team is starting to a bit. Yeah, so his team definitely is differentiating him from Elizabeth Warren. Also, thank you for the massive donation of $20. Thanks a lot. But yeah, we're seeing his team do it online. I think personally, for Bernie, I think he doesn't really want to go after Warren all that much because they're friends. They know each other. He can make distinctions on their record, but look, I hope he does, and I think there's a way to do it. But the worry here as well, because look, you can't run a campaign based on fear, but Bernie Sanders, if he goes after Warren, they're going to spin it somehow as him being sexist. They're going to do that. They did it with Hillary Clinton when he was going after her. They're going to do it this time. And for many people, that works. But if the attack from the media on Bernie is dishonest enough, like say he goes after Warren and it's a legitimate attack, maybe her vote to increase military spending, maybe it's that, and the media says, oh, why is Bernie going after the only woman in the race leading? I can't believe he's being so sexist. I think that might actually turn on Warren, and that would actually benefit Bernie, because people will be watching at home. I think most people, look, I know it seems crazy based on how people vote, but I do think most people, when presented with the correct argument, are going to think why is the media attacking Bernie over this? It doesn't make any sense. So I think potentially in a scenario like that where Bernie makes a criticism that is 100% factual, that is a good critique of Elizabeth Warren, and the media attacks Bernie over it, I think that will actually help Bernie. Maybe not largely. I mean, there could just be, you could say half, it may half help him, half hurt him. So in the end, it will have no effect at all. But people see through a lot of that media crap if they're presented with the correct argument. So I hope he'd be able to go after her and not be criticized over it. But we all know he will. It doesn't matter what he'll say. This old man yelling at Elizabeth Warren. You know what they're going to say. It's all the same stuff. Alexandre Cote says, how is the conversation around first past the post and PR in Canada going? It is one of my biggest issues. So
when you have rational
representation,
national priorities,
I'll be honest with you. I haven't heard much talk about it. Like, there should be a focus on Trudeau and his failure on electoral reform. There has been some talk about that. But because the focus of the media coverage right now is largely on conservatives and liberals, they're almost contrasting those two platforms and kind of ignoring the NDP and the Greens largely. So, I mean, some of that will change when we see more debates. I think the debate is coming up on October 7th, I believe, or it's coming up soon anyways. I hope Jagmeet Singh brings that up. I hope Elizabeth May brings that up, Trudeau's failure on first past the post or on electoral reform. So we'll see if it becomes more of a talking point then, but right now I'm not seeing too much about it. Jonas Levinson says Green parties are just a bunch of powerless. Green parties are just a powerless bunch that will only do symbolic politics like ban straws and plastic bags. Is centrist green really the way to go? Look, I agree with you largely. That's why I support the NDP. I do think our Green Party is kind of an eco-capitalist party. It's not a party that has shown a willingness to stand with labor, stand with workers, and yeah, a lot of it is that. That said, they still have, they're still solid on issues. They're still, they're not a horrible party. But if you're asking me, NDP or Greens, I'm more in support or more on the side of the NDP now than the Greens. Even though I ran as a Green Party candidate in the past, my politics have evolved as well since then. I know more now than I did back then. So when you learn things and you change, you grow, you evolve, your view on who you support changes. And also, I have to be clear too. I can go back and forth. I mean, to me, I'm never married to any party. It all depends on the candidate, all depends on the party, the platform, their history. So depending on all that, that's where I based my support on. A lot of people, I especially notice this with older generations, they just stick to a party. Like, they stick to the label. Oh, I'm conservative. I'm a liberal, and they don't question why. There's no underlying reasoning there. It's just like the team they chose. It's like a sports team. It's so absurd. I mean, when it comes to politics, you have to base it on the platform, the candidates. I mean, what they're actually about. But a lot of older voters, and this isn't to paint all older voters. Obviously, a lot of you are very intelligent and know exactly what's going on. But you know people in your generation. I mean, I'm disappointed when I see people in my generation as a millennial that are just completely, obsessed with issues that don't really matter.
Priorities.
So it happens in all generations. But whether it's, conditioning through the way media talks about politics as kind of a horse race, I think that's a big part of it. People just don't question their motives or their support of certain parties. All right. Probably got to go in a minute here. I'm a half an hour over than I expected. But I did see... I'm getting so used to hearing these notifications out, I'm forgetting when they pop up. So I apologize. Oh, by the way, Alexander Cote, thank you for the massive donation. $20 is, again, just like Devin. You two are awesome. Especially helpful because we are... I should say the channel is not getting as many views as it was a few weeks ago. Oh, I super apologize to people that were giving me messages on Streamlabs. I see them now. Actually, I think it's one person. Way left but center says, thanks for all the work you put in. You and Kyle are really helping me find a solid political ideology. Recently started streaming on Twitch. Any advice? Keep the good work. I hope you're still in the chat. Sorry for missing you earlier. Advice is just to be consistent.
Rational national
so if you are
priorities,
consistent, then you will gain a following. Be consistent, and that does two things. It helps to build an audience, and it also helps you get better at what you're doing. So when you start, you may not be all that good. I mean, if you go back and watch my old videos, I did some throwbacks on my channel when I was gone. You saw some of my old stuff. Wasn't all that good. But you see the progression. You see as you do it more and more and more, you get more confident on camera. You become more knowledgeable. You kind of find your groove, and you just get better. So consistency, I think, is the key. And you sent another one saying, you missed my first contribution, but you are awesome. So you deserve two today. Keep it up. Thank you. I hope you're still in here. If I can see the chat. Though your name could be different on here than it is on the on Streamlabs. But thank you. Thank you so much. All right. Somebody says, Ashley Rose says, do you have a video covering Elizabeth Warren's daughter and her ties to the healthcare industry? So there's been some developments in that story. Ryan Grimm, who is an incredible reporter, basically broke down the fact that this $45K is a regular contribution from Elizabeth Warren's daughter's group. So to kind of act like it was just recent, and then because of that, the Working Families Party supports Elizabeth Warren is kind of absurd. That said, they haven't released the vote totals. So in case you don't know the story, the Working Families Party endorsed Elizabeth Warren, but didn't release how their members voted. So the board got half of the votes, basically had half of the the impact on who they endorse, and everybody else in the Working Family Party got the other half. So it's very likely that the majority of people supported in the Working Families Party supported Bernie Sanders, but the board supported Warren, so Warren got their endorsement. That's likely what happened, because there is no reason for them not to release the vote totals. If Elizabeth Warren won fair and squared, or I should say won clearly with their members, they'd release the votes, but they haven't. So while the Working Families Party, I don't know why I'm having a hard time saying that, the Working Families Party has done some good things, this is the kind of move where it makes people have a tougher time supporting them in the future. So you can't release or have an endorsement like that and not release how your members voted. It just screams of dishonesty. It screams like your members absolutely did not vote the way you endorsed. But you wonder how much of an impact they have on the election anyways. I mean, that's up for debate. All right. I should probably go, but I'm having a good time. Humayed Mirza, I think I've said your name 3 different times now. 3 different ways. Says, do you think the whole "I have a plan" saying is elitist? It depends how they're saying it. I mean, in the sense where the media is like, oh, Elizabeth Warren, she has a plan. Yeah, that's just PR nonsense. Bernie Sanders has a plan, and in many cases more comprehensive, more detailed than Elizabeth Warren's plans. But the way she gets covered, oh, Elizabeth Warren, she's got a plan. So does Bernie. You're just ignoring it. So yeah, it all depends how it's used. I don't think just saying that means it's elitist. But I get what you're saying. Christine Danielson, who's a member, says, please hit the like button. David is spot on and does a bloody good job. From Norway. Thanks, Christine. I agree. Hit the like button. And support me if you can. Become a member. All right. Having a good time, but this is I could be here all day, really. I do want to say I want to do more Twitch. I say this every time, and I don't do it, but I actually do, because right now I am playing a new game. I'm playing the new Zelda game on Switch. So I hope to do more Twitch. Actually, I also want to. I mean, there are a bunch of games that I play. Really, I'm a huge gamer. People don't know this for the most part, but I'm gonna try now when I'm playing a game to actually just be on Twitch. It's hard to find a consistent schedule for that, and a lot of people really don't care about me playing games. So a lot of you aren't going to watch anyways. But I do also talk politics while doing that, and it's kind of casual, laid back. You can do your own thing while I'm doing that. People like to people watch Twitch streams while they're working or whatever. So if you're into that stuff, follow me on Twitch. Twitch.tv. I'm gonna type it in the chat. Twitch.tv/The Rational National. There you go. And follow me on there. But David, do you play Splatoon? I used to play Splatoon. I haven't played that for a while. I should do a 24-hour stream, Mr. Cat. Yeah, Mr. First Cat says. No, it's Mr. Cat. No, that's not Mr. at all. That's Mr. First Cat. You got a crazy name. I would love to do a 24-hour stream once. That would be nuts. I don't know how that would work, especially when I sweat so much after an hour. But that'd be fun. Damn, I got some donations coming in now. All right, hold up.
Second of all, maybe you did that and made money off the
So
healthcare.
Nelson Shendow says Bernie should start saying, "I have a better plan." Oh, I like that. I like
when you
that.
have rational
I actually really
national
like
priorities.
that. I'm sure mainstream press will find a way to hate it. Oh, he's just being sexist. But I think that's actually a solid line. I have a better plan.
When you have rational national priorities.
That's good. I like that, Nelson. Thank you for the donation. That was good. Christine Danielson says, "You're welcome, 8X." Thank you, Christine. And thank you for the 50, was that kroner? I'm not sure what that translates to, but thank you so much.
Healthcare, but our job is to run a non-profit healthcare system.
I should play Dragon Quest Builders. I never got into Dragon Quest too much. Maybe. I essentially I play Switch and PS4. I want to get the game Control. Just came out recently. After I play through Zelda, I'll probably get that because I've been hearing good things about Control. Oh my God! Someone just said Insomniac, and that reminded me of I was thinking of a different game. I was thinking Naughty Dog. Naughty Dog. Have you seen the Last of Us 2 trailer? That game is crazy good. All right, I can't talk too much about games, so I'll just be here all day, and it'll turn into a Twitch stream. But thank you so much for joining. I heard more. Is that more donations or members? I don't want to miss you people. Or that may have been the old ones. All right. Let me just refresh to make sure I got the super chats because I don't want to miss people that paid to ask a question. Oh, there's someone else that gave one that I didn't see. David St. Loth sent $4 with no message, but thank you, David. Thank you so much. All right. Cool. As you can tell, I'm tired, but I'll do more of these on a more consistent basis. Naughty Dog is the best company. Other bully just put that in there. Completely agree. Naughty Dog is friggin', they are the top of their game, I think. I think they're the best developer out there. But all right. I gotta go. Thanks again for watching, and see you later.
Second of all, maybe you did that and made money off of health care, but our job is to run a non-profit health care system.